Oh, what's good, Commander Shane? I just want to make my annual breakout candidates, video for the offseason. Which players I think are going to break out or make a leap. I'm not putting Mikey in this because I think Mikey already had a really good season. I'm talking about guys who have not really had a good season yet, and most likely it's more of the rookies that I feel like they can break out, and then a few free agents that we did bring in that I feel like may break out. Like Dante Fowler broke out last year with a 10.5 or 10 sack season. Even though Dante Fowler did have double-digit sacks before, I think, in his career. He had 11.5 for the Rams, but he had 4 in 2021, 6 in 2022, 4 sacks in 2023. He went from 4 sacks to 10.5, and he had 3 sacks in 2020. So for 4 seasons, he didn't have over 6 sacks. Maybe Dietrich Wise, who had 7.5 sacks, maybe he's a guy that can break out and have double-digit sacks because, we're talking about Von Miller, Zadarius Smith, and guys like that. Maybe one of the guys that we did sign breaks out like Dante Fowler did and has, a good season getting to the quarterback. Of course, these guys are better slowing down the run game, but you guys get the point of what I'm saying here. So number one is, and I'm going to talk about guys that may be on the hot seat too, man, and some of the guys that I feel like can be breakout candidates can be on the hot seat as well if they do not perform this year or show something or some consistency or some type of production on the football field this year. Now, there was a lot of videos that I did want to make today as far as the draft being held here in 2027. I did watch the press conference at the White House. I did watch that. So I'll probably make a video tomorrow. I just didn't have a lot of time today. A lot of things happened and whatnot. Some other videos I wanted to make today too, but I'll probably make a couple videos tomorrow. So be ready for that before rookie minicamp. Number one for me is Luke McCaffrey, and it's interesting because I made my which 5 or 6 receivers are going to make the roster because I don't really like keeping 7 receivers, but most likely they will. So somebody commented, I'm going to read some comments here too. So Yardy Suave says, I feel like if we didn't draft Luke McCaffrey last year, he wouldn't make the 53-man roster this year. He's what makes the battle a difficult decision in the end. Someone solid will be cut, unfortunately. So my first breakout player or candidate is Luke McCaffrey. Somebody else said something about Luke too, that they have a weird feeling that he won't make the roster. So King Slim also said, King Slim 202 also commented and said, Terry number 1 making the roster, 2 Debo, 3 Jalen Lane, 4 Noah Brown, 5 Ja'Cory Brooks, and then 6 is Luke McCaffrey, only because he does block his chin strap off. So that's the only reason why he has Luke McCaffrey making the roster. He said Ja'Cory Brooks is better than McCaffrey, who should have been undrafted, to be honest. So a lot of people have been giving Luke McCaffrey a really tough time. And then Amon Thomas 4135 commented, I'm not sure how long Luke McCaffrey will stay on. So Luke McCaffrey's going to make the roster this year. He's going to make the roster, but I do get people's concern. How many yards did he even have last year? Now, some of it's not his fault because a lot of people were saying the same thing to me too, like saying I was being too hard on Luke McCaffrey and whatnot and stuff like that. But I was just being honest and objective. I wasn't super high on him being a 3rd-round pick at the time, converting from quarterback, but he's a good athlete. He's a solid kick returner. Kind of struggled a little bit against the Eagles in that last game, but he had some solid punt returns in some of the last couple of games when Austin Eckler had the concussion. But him and Jaden just have not been able to get on the same page for whatever reason. I know they got to training camp at 5 a.m. in the morning or 4:30 a.m. in the morning, but for whatever reason, these guys just have not been able to connect, whether it's Jaden just overthrow him. And a lot of it's really not Luke's fault. Jaden just, either he's getting pressured, he overthrows him, or something weird happened last year where they just were not able to connect. For the only time they really connected was when the ball wasn't intended for Luke McCaffrey against the Bengals on 4th and 2, and he scampered up the field for like 25, 30 yards. Other than that, he just didn't really do much. Now, PFF loved Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey was like top 5 in creating separation for a little bit for the beginning of the season. They just could not connect. So he had 18 catches for 168 yards. His longest catch was for 30 yards. I think that was against the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken, the play that I just talked about. He did have 8 first downs, so there was 8 times that he did move the chains. He was targeted 24 times and had 18 catches, so 18 out of 24 times he caught the football, which is pretty darn good. It's not bad at all. So he didn't really drop the ball much. He was pretty consistent, though. Like I remember the Cardinals game, he had a couple catches, too, for a first down where he made a big play. So I think he could be a breakout candidate and on the hot seat at the same time. He had 4 starts. Noah Brown got more snaps than him. Even when Noah Brown got injured, De'Ami Brown got more snaps than Luke McCaffrey. OZ got more snaps than Luke McCaffrey. Other guys, Jamison Crowder got more snaps than Luke McCaffrey. It was like at that time in the last part of the season, that last quarter of the season, when Noah Brown got injured, everybody was like, oh, man, Luke McCaffrey's going to get more chances. He's going to get more opportunities. And they brought in KJ Osborne. They signed Michael Strahan, Chris Moore. So I think they do like Luke McCaffrey, but you know, I don't know, man. We'll see. He's a wild card. He's a question mark. We know Terry's going to get his targets. We know Devo's going to get his targets. Jalen Lane, Noah Brown. So the target share is going to be like this. Terry's going to get a bunch of targets as he has to. There's just no choice. You got to give him the football. Deebo Samuel, you traded a 5th-round pick for him, and he's Deebo, so he's going to get a bunch of targets. Noah Brown is going to get a bunch of targets. Noah Brown got targeted a lot last year. He got targeted a lot last year when he was healthy. Jaden would like just default throw the ball to him a lot of times, and we would get frustrated. Like, bro, throw the ball to Terry. But Jaden loved throwing the ball to Noah Brown. So those are your 3 top targets, and then after that, he's battling with Jalen Lane for targets, and probably Ja'Cory Brooks, and KJ Osborne if he makes the roster. So, you know, he's really like the 4th or 5th option right now on the team. If you really look at it, he's like the 4th or 5th option, but I think, man, look, if he stays healthy, which he usually does, I think, and then Jalen Lane could surpass him, though. Like, I wouldn't be surprised seeing that. I could see Jalen Lane surpass him and get more targets, get more yards in year 1. I could definitely see something like that happening. Just because Jalen Lane is just more elusive. I think he's quicker, he's faster. He can make some shaking, make guys miss in a phone booth. I think he can get open a little bit quicker than Luke does. But we'll see, man. We'll see. So we'll see what happens with Luke. But this is a make or break year for him because if he doesn't show up this year, they're going to draft another receiver. They're either going to draft another receiver or sign another receiver. Like they're going to try their best to get more weapons for Jaden Daniels. I think we have enough weapons on the wide receiver position for Jaden. But if Luke puts up another, let's say, and they just don't connect, it just may be like, hey, it just didn't work out. And that's not saying that Luke is bad, but you know, him and Jaden just were never able to get on the same page. If he has another 168-yard season or 100-yard season or something like that, then they got to look elsewhere and they got to move on. All right, similar situation here. We'll move on to the next player. Is Ben Sinnott, tight end, 2nd-round pick. Let's look at his numbers here too. I think he only had like 5 catches or something like that. And he may just be Kyle Juszczyk. That just may really legit be his role. 5 catches for 28 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have a nice catch in the playoffs from Tress Way on a fake punt where Tress Way has more passing yards than Dak Prescott in the playoffs. But yeah, this just may be who Ben Sinnott is. Now, Ben Sinnott, he did have a couple penalties. He did have a false start against the Giants where Jaden Daniels was visibly upset about that on the 4th down play, and we had to kick a field goal. I do believe he had another illegal formation on a 4th down on another game. I may be wrong about that, but I know for sure he definitely had a penalty on a crucial play in that first Giants game. I'm not saying that's why his playing time went down, but they brought back Zach Ertz. So does that really give him a lot of room? They brought back John Bates. Does that really give him a lot of room for targets? Does it really give him a lot of room for targets? Now, they're going to have to manufacture touches for Benson. If you want to get the best out of your 2nd-round pick, and he may just be a blocking tight end. He may just be an H-back. He may just be a fullback. That's maybe what he is. I'd rather him be more of a legitimate tight end where he at least gives me at least 30 catches. You know, Zach Ertz got, like 50 or 60 catches? But Benson, he is strong in the blocking game. Like the block he had against Dallas where he pancaked somebody on the Jaden Daniels run for a touchdown. I like that a lot. 6'4", 245 pounds. He had a really crazy RAS score as everybody did last year. But yeah, I mean, John Bates coming back and getting more snaps. He ran a 4.6 40-yard dash, 40-inch vertical leap, which was crazy. Shuttle drill was elite and 3-cone drill was elite as well. But Ben Sinnott, man, yeah, he's a big question mark. I think he's talented. He didn't get. I remember people saying that he was running with the 3rd-string team in training camp last year too. So that was a concern, and I mean that's normal for rookies. But you look at other guys; they were getting first team snaps for the most part. He was running with the 3rd string for the most part, from what I heard in training camp last year. Now he did play well in the preseason against the Jets. He had that big run. That was with the 2nd team as well. The catch from Jeff Driscoll. So he shows run after the catch ability. Like he's better at yak than Zach. No yak Zach. That's one reason I feel like they should try to get him the football a little bit more than what they did. They did run 12 personnel a little bit, but most likely it was with Zach Ertz and John Bates. But for whatever reason, they just went with the veterans over Ben Sinnott and bringing back Zach Ertz. I just don't see many targets for Ben Sinnott. I just don't. I don't see many targets for him upcoming this season. And like I said, if he puts up another season, just like Luke, where and it's not all Ben Sinnott's fault, but if it's another 5-catch, 28-yard season, they're drafting a tight end for sure. Whether it's the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, they're drafting a tight end. You just have to. You have to draft a tight end. And they signed John Bates for 3 years. Not like a 1-year deal for John Bates. I believe it was a 3-year deal for John Bates. Like, it was a pretty solid deal. It's not a pricey deal, but it's a pretty solid deal that they gave John Bates, man. So, not going to be tough on Adam Peters, but not every pick works out. You just know how the draft goes. He got a 3-year, $21 million contract. So they believe in John Bates and they like Zach Ertz. So I just don't see a lot of targets for Ben Sinnott again. Just being honest and being real, I don't see a lot of targets for Ben Sinnott again. They're gonna have to manufacture touches for him. Maybe some goal line plays like they did against the Panthers, but other than that, you just didn't see much. They have a potential out with John Bates after the 2026 season. All right, so another draft pick that is a question mark is Johnny Newton, Jerzon Newton. I can see him breaking out, but he is going to be like your defensive tackle starters are going to be Deron Payne and Javon Kinlaw. And the outside is Dietrich Wise at defensive end. The other side is Dorrance. So this is another guy where there's a veteran in front of him with Johnny Newton. Now, they're going to be rotating guys, Eddie Goldman and whatnot. They're going to be rotating guys, and they're going to be giving guys breaks, which is good because I remember Deron Payne and John Allen had just played like 95% of the snaps under Ron Rivera. They don't do that. Joe Witt Jr. doesn't do that. He likes to rotate guys. And he likes to say we're going to run 15 deep and stuff like that. Or 15, 20 deep. That's what he likes to say on the defensive side of the football. So Johnny Newton, his snaps should go up, and he's going to be healthy. He's going to have a healthy offseason, a healthy training camp, a healthy OTAs, and all the good stuff. Like, he didn't participate in a lot of offseason activities because both feet were injured and had surgery. He did have the terrible where he jumped off sides against the Steelers. He did have a couple good plays against the Bears. He had a forced fumble. He did have a sack on the season. He had 2 sacks on the season. But other than that, his numbers were pretty pedestrian. PFF grade was pretty lackluster, 51.6. 18 pressures, which was 59th out of 219 defensive tackles, which is solid. He did show some flashes here and there. Pass rush grade 63. Run defense grade was awful. 44.8, so he does need to improve in that area and slowing down the run game. So he could be a breakout guy, and he could be a guy where it's like, look, man, if it's not clicking in year 2, I hate to say that year 2, but maybe they're gonna have to bring in another defensive tackle. There's another guy right there. Jordan McGee is next on the list. Injury riddled rookie season, got injured in preseason, but this guy was playing with the ones, and they love Jordan McGee. Temple loved him as well. He wore a single-digit number. They said, guys, our draft scouting room was banging on the table for Jordan McGee. They were banging on the table for Jordan McGee. Now, once again, another veteran is going to be in front of him, Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu. So, played a lot of special teams, but he's got the speed. You look at his RAS score as well. He had a crazy RAS score, 4.5 40-yard dash, 35 and a half vertical leap, which was great. Broad jump was great. 20-yard split was elite. His 10-yard split was elite. Hit a 9.29 RAS score. Ranked 192 out of 2,686 linebackers. Now, like I said, he got snaps with the ones in the preseason. He got snaps with the ones in training camp, like throughout training camp. Like, they were loving him in training camp. They were loving Jordan McGee. So he has an opportunity to get some snaps. But once again, you got Bobby Wagner, who's going to get the majority of the snaps. You have Frankie Louvu, who's going to get the majority of the snaps. So it is going to be tough to get him in. Michael Walker did play a little bit here and there. And then there was another linebacker that did play other than Bobby and Frankie. But once again, it's another thing where it's just going to be tough for him to get an opportunity because they're not taking Bobby out of the game. Like, Bobby's not coming out like that, and Frankie's not coming out of the game like that, especially on third downs. So, but I think Jordan McGee, he just has the foot speed that would be better than Bobby. So we'll see if they do give him a legitimate chance to grow and improve. So that's another breakout candidate for me. Johnny Newton, I already talked about Dietrich Wise a little bit. Could he have a Dante Fowler type ascension as far as rushing the passer? Of course, we wanted him to be his normal self, slowing down the run game. But as far as a pass rusher, can he break out and get to double-digit sacks? Trying to think some other guys on the roster. If you guys think about anybody that I missed, for sure, just let me know. But I think that's about it. Like I said, wide receiver-wise, Luke, can he break out? Brandon Coleman, if he's moving to guard, can he break out and improve at the guard spot? Once again, a very high RAS score, had a solid season at left tackle. But, people really think he's a guard. So is he going to play better at the guard spot, at the left guard spot? Because I think he's going to start a left guard. Does he play better at left guard instead of having Nick Allegretti out there. Javon Kinlaw, can he break out? Remember, he struggled with the Niners, injury riddled season and career with the Niners. They consider him as a bust. Can he improve his career and break out at that elephant in spot? Will Harris, you're going to throw his name in the hat too. Can he break out here? And he had a good season last year, but can he really have a good season here with the Washington Commanders? So I think Noah I kind of broke out last year, if you want to say that, because he probably had his best year of his career in the NFL, because the Dolphins gave up on him after drafting him in the first round. I'll throw John Baptiste in there too, the rookie. Can he get some snaps and play well? So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. Tyler Owens, let's take a look at Tyler Owens as well, the special teams demon, the athletic freak. You guys let me know what you guys think. Hell's Commanders. Peace.